Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Victor, and I'm going to be anchor for this training. So this is the CompTIA 220 01101 and called 2201102. So it's a two exams that gives you the CompTIA A Plus certification. So we've done quite a lot in this curriculum. If you check the channel, you see that we've done the series 1, series 2, series 3, 4, 5, 6. And 7, which is virtualization and cloud computing. We've looked at network troubleshooting. I think up to 70–80% of the content there. We've also looked at operating systems. So if you check the guide, which is about 900 thereabout slides, pages, we've looked at, we're on 600. So that in this section, we're going to move on. That is in series let me see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in this 10th series, we're going to be looking at Windows settings. We're going to cover this a little bit and see how we progress from here. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. You can ask questions on the comment section if you need any guide. Or if you want to take the CompTIA certification, Saltec, Clark-Achie Technology Limited, we are accredited CompTIA delivery partners. So we can help you write, not really write, we can help you sit for your exams so that you can pass. We can give you all of the guide, give you all the assistance, everything that will help you pass your exams. You can also take your Linux exam, your pen test exams. If you check the channel, you're going to see some content, some materials on digital forensics, on pen testing. Okay, let's get to today's business. So we're going to be looking at Windows settings. Given this scenario, you use the appropriate Windows settings. Here, you want to be able to do some basic Windows settings. You want to be able to change time, date and time. You want to be able to change your region if you need to do that. You also want to be able to change language. Then maybe enable speech recognition. Let's check the first one, which is date and time. If you tap on this area, you're able to see the dates we have here. Of course, we might not be able to see the time, but if we type time, date and time settings, we'll be able to go there straight on. Then for region and language, time also, if we say time zone, we're able to change our region. Let's touch on date, time, and maybe region. Dates, time, and region. So we just tap on date and time settings. So for any Windows PC, if you need to change that, all you just need to do is to go to date and time settings. You can select your zone. I'm in West African UTC +1. I can set time automatically, which is actually doing now. If I remove that, it will not be able to give me option to like set it manually. So I can change manually, but I don't want to do that. I just leave it to automatically detect time settings. Of course, whenever the system is connected to the internet or whenever the first time it was set up, it can pick up the time and sync that. Then, of course, language and region. If you want to use the system in another clime, in another region, you can actually change the time, or rather, you can actually change the region. If I want to change the region, I could tap here and select language option. I could pick the different options I have. I could also add maybe a type of keyboard. You have different types of keyboard. 101 versus let me say keyboard types. So because keyboards are categorized mostly based on region, the geographical area. If it's Spanish, Espanol. If it's English, if it is Hindu, if it's Chinese, if it is depending on the language, because the way the type differs from region to region. And it's also categorized based on the number of keys, right? Based on the number of keys. Keyboard types based on number of keys, right? So that's one way also to categorize keyboard. So you could say 104, then 103 to 104, then you have 87, then you have 80 to 84, and you have several other types. So, you know, some languages don't have all the A to Z like we have it, but most people in English-speaking countries are going to have this full size because they have A to Z. Some languages are going to have it in a certain, some two words joined together and all of that. So keyboards can be classified like that also. So those are the different ways that keyboard can be classified, or they can be classified based on their what's it called, based on the region. Okay, let's get back. Then what else is possible that we do here? You could change your, I don't know why this thing is having a hard set. I think for Windows 11, maybe it's because of how it was set from when I was configuring the system. Let me see if I can change this region. Okay, I can change the region. If I change the region to something else, let's say to Nepal, of course, that can also affect my keys, what a type height is going to be. So all this is just to help you understand that you can do all of these changes and tweaks in the time and language or time settings, right? So that's about that. Then updates and security. Now, you should also differentiate between an update, an upgrade, and maybe a patch. I think we'll look at most of these things in the security section of this book. Personalization. So things like background, I think I considered some of these things in the series 9 of this training. I think I considered background. I also considered themes and I think fonts. I think I did background. You could change the background of this. So you see that in your display settings. You right click and you say display settings. You're going to see an option for you to change what your background looks like, to change it to a logo. You see brightness, scale, display resolution, display rotation, if you want to use multiple screen. Let me see, just a second. So things like background, things like color scheme or color theme. You want to do that. So personalization, you know, we're in personalization, that is this, right? We're in personalization. So the different kind of things you can do in personalization is background, color, lock screen, theme, font, start, menu, tax bar, all of those stuff. So you see, look at them here. You have background, color, theme, lock screen. So you could just tap and attempt to do something slightly different. If I tap on this, what's going to happen is that my screen is going to, my background is going to be this way. The color scheme, it's on, what's it called? The custom color, it's on default. If I choose this, it's going to affect the way my screen and my environment is going to look like and all of that. So I'll just keep it at, I think, default. Let me see. Just a second. So I'll keep it at, okay, choose a background color. I think I will just take it back. This is the way it is. I'll take it back to the logo, right? Okay, see that background color I selected? That is this one. So I'll put it at white. Let me view more colors. Just take it to F100. Just white. Done. So see the way it is. Okay, that's reflected. Then I have my logo. So I think that's that for some of this contrast theme. If you want to, if you have eye issue, you want to have a tweak of what the screen is going to look like. I think we tested some of these things in the previous video, so we'll just write them. So apps and features, installing new apps and remove old ones. So you go to apps and features. So you could install new applications. You could remove applications that you have. Take, for instance, I have the uTorrent, I have this Zip, 7-Zip, I have Anaconda. I do a lot of Python programming for data analytics, machine learning. Then I have an antivirus, I have a calculator. So for each of any of these, what's it called? Any of these, okay, let me take this guy off. You just click and you say uninstall, uninstall, and that's all. So it's similar to the environment you have in XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 10, and all of that. Very, very possible. Okay, so let's move on. So app and features, default app, offline maps, then apps for website, video playback, startup. Let's go back to apps and see what other thing we can see there. Apps and features. So if we go to apps and features, we see, or let me just say apps. So you have default apps, startup apps. So default apps are apps that are assigned to some particular programs. So your default app for, let's say, browsing internet is going to be either Chrome or Firefox or Mozilla, all of that. So you could click on default apps. Let me wait for that. Waiting. Okay, good. So default apps. So you could see the default apps for different kind of things. Let's say you say, let me try HTML, .html. So see the default app is Edge. If I say PDF.pdf, the default app is my WPS. If I say .exe, my default app should be my Explorer. I don't know why it's not bringing something out. If I say zip, my default app is the Windows Zip Explorer. So this can give you an idea about which, and most of the times if you have a file and it's opening the wrong app, you can just right click and make that particular file, give it a default application, and that's going to solve that problem. Okay, let's look at privacy. So in privacy, you have sharing usage information and data history with Microsoft. I don't like to do this most of the times to conserve bandwidth, to also keep some of the things discrete and limit the amount of flow of information back and forth to your system and Microsoft systems. So then you have inking and typing personalization, you have diagnostics and feedback, you have activity history, you have app permission. App permission is very important. It's something to look at. In app permission, you want to be in app permission. If I don't see it as an item, I could go to privacy as a control panel, or if I don't see it here, I could just go to control panel. If I go to control panel, then I'll go to privacy settings. So when you get to control panel, most of these things you're able to see them. You could search the big option, that's the large icon, or you can make it category based, right? So look at all of the programs we looked at earlier on installing program. I could tap here, I will still be in a similar environment. This interface is from the Windows 7 interface. So it's still here, though you see that if we say apps and features, we still have something similar. So that's one of the things about continuous development, integration, deployment. So there's still some hitch here with respect to the user interface between what you have here, exactly same features, right? And what you have here. You see my uTorrent 7-zip, they're all there, right? Everything. Now the question is, why would Microsoft have this interface and have this interface all in the same system doing the same thing? So I think maybe we might need 1 or 2 more versions to be able to move away from this environment. Same thing when you have network. When you go to, let's say, network settings, or rather, let's say you go to, I think, what's the name again? Network. Let me see. Okay, network sharing. Yes. Will it be advanced sharing? Let me tap on it. So you see this. Okay, let me go to network and sharing center. Network and sharing center. So this environment is typically the same environment you have in Windows 7 and all of those other versions of Windows, right? So I think it will take them some time to be able to take away some of these because it's still this same environment. If you go to Wi-Fi, you can still see a similar environment, right? You can still see a similar environment, right? See the Wi-Fi, properties, and the rest, show available connection. So it takes a lot to create awesome softwares and to ensure that you have seamless transition. And at times, it's difficult to leave away some of the old things you have before now. Okay, system. This is likely the most important app to study. System settings are used throughout the A+ content in this book, and many will be familiar by now. Many should be familiar by now. Many of the settings impacts the performance of a system. So devices, Bluetooth and other devices. So this is to help you manage Bluetooth. I do tell some of my users when I train them on basic PC usage, troubleshooting, you don't need to kill yourself trying to memorize, trying to understand what each function does. A simple way to do that is just to say Bluetooth. You can use the search function. You don't have to try to click your home or click here, try to go to control panel, go to these. The search function is for a purpose. Bluetooth and other settings, I want to send a file or I want to add a Bluetooth device to this particular PC. I just say Bluetooth, right? Right, you can see that Bluetooth, let it come up, Bluetooth, and I can add devices. I can add optical mouses. I could add, let's say, wireless devices. I could just add device, right? Very, very straightforward. A Bluetooth device on my TV, on Xbox, I just tap on it and waiting for the device to be discoverable. I tap on it and I'm good to go. So there's an LG TV close by, can tap on it. And so that's one way to use some of these features, right? Printer and scanner, same thing. You could add and remove printers. You just click on search, right? Then you click on add printers. That's add a device, right? But most of these things, you're going to still see them in control panel. Control panel is like the central house where you have most of these settings. So if you click on small icons, you're going to see everything. You're going to see device manager. You're going to see BitLocker. We looked at when we're looking at hard drives. Then you're going to see date and time. You're going to see sound. You're going to see. I remember back then when I was trying to learn PCs, configurations, I did my A+. One of the things you want to do is to spend a lot of time in your control panel, poking around, looking at these things, trying some of these features, trying to see what is possible. So that will give you a good grasp of most of these components, most of these settings, what's possible. Like the wireless we looked earlier on, if you go to Network and Sharing Center, you're there. It then means that you can go to most of these settings from control panel, or another way to do it is you just search Network and Sharing Center, right? And some of them will be difficult for you to pick them from search because, for instance, that's an old feature in that came up from Windows 7. Okay, I think, is there anything important here? Autoplay, USB. Let me see. Okay, let's look at network and internet, right? So Wi-Fi specific Wi-Fi settings, handling IP and hardware information. I just need to say Wi-Fi, and I can see all of my Wi-Fi settings. I could turn devices on. I could discover Wi-Fi's and the rest. I can see all the Wi-Fi I have close by. Okay, it's on. So you could see the IP address, what the speed is, the manufacturer description, whether it's on DHCP or is on manual, the physical, the MAC address. If you want to confirm this, for instance, for this network adapter, like in the last class, we said go to CMD. Let's put this by the side. So let's say an IP config /all. And let's tally the MAC address of what I have here. And what I have here. So I'm going to, let me reduce this. So I'm going to, sorry, just a second. Wow. That's something like this. Okay, wireless LAN is. Okay, I think this is it. That's this last guy here. Wireless LAN adapter Wi-Fi, because I'm using my Wi-Fi adapter. So let's compare our notes, this and this. See, they are same. So you could use your command prompt to like do some of this verification, see your IP address. If you compare the IP address also, and this, if you compare the MAC address, compare the IP version 6 address, IP version 4 address, you have all same thing. So I think that's for mobile networks, sharing an internet connection over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Now you should be able to do some of these basic settings. If you want to do this, for instance, on your mobile, you can just turn on your Wi-Fi and you turn on your hotspot. Then on your PC, you turn on your Wi-Fi, you're able to browse. Then airplane mode, that's if you don't want internet access or you don't want GSM access, you just toggle on and toggle off. Proxies, managing settings for using a proxy server, not applicable to VPNs. Gaming menu, I'm not a gaming fan. Xbox game bars, captures, game mode, Xbox networking, all of these things are possible in that setting. Let me try something. Xbox. So you have some of these apps for game lovers. They can do all of those settings. So should you control game bar controller settings, you can do most of those settings, set your graphics card. Of course, your graphic card should be able to be, you should be able to take up the whatever game you're trying to play. How do you check your graphics card? You could right click on your display settings because your graphics has to do with your display. Then you could click on advanced display information, then display adapter properties. So this is how to check for Windows 11. For Windows 10 and others might be slightly different the way I navigated. So here, this is my graphics card adapter type, and I have a 10 gig video dedicated, what's it called? My graphics card memory. So I should be able to do a lot of 3D, a lot of rendering, a lot of games. I should be able to play a lot of that. So I have 10 gig just for dedicated for what's it called, for graphics. Okay. I don't know why this guy is still trying to remove. What's happening? Okay, let's get back to our material. Account. So can you create new accounts? Can you remove old accounts? Those are the kind of things you want to be seeing, you want to be able to do in accounts. So the menu for accounts include the following settings: your info, email and account, sign-in options, access work or school, user, other users, sync your settings. Now, if you go to accounts, so you can see a lot of options you could have. Other users, like if you tap on this system now, think here, you're going to see, if you tap here, you're going to see there's another account here, Subtech Project Manager, another account on this PC. So you could use more than one account on a PC. For some of us that are not used to that, the way you have your PC, it's just like a DeX. So it's possible that you can compact, you can create compartments, create sections on that PC so that one person can have his own username and password. Somebody else can still have his own username and password, and they can both use the PC without maybe this person seeing the files of this person. Of course, with the right folder permissions and settings, it's possible. So if you go to account, so your account info, you can see all of those. You can change, you could take your password, You could change your password. You could add a new user. Look at my account now, for instance. If I tap on this, it's going to give me all of the details and, of course, related settings with respect to that. Okay, so it's trying to open my Microsoft account. So then, of course, you can upload, you can change these details. You could change all of this. So you could just poke around and try some things like changing your password, things like creating a new user account. Like this particular project manager account yesterday, I just created it fresh, right? Email an account, depending on how many accounts, or you could say add a new user, add an account to ask you what type of account do you want to create, select a PIN. It then means that if you successfully create that, it's possible that somebody else is able to also have an account on this PC. So you see, I already have 2 accounts. That's myself and somebody else I just created yesterday. If I want to create somebody else, I could like add a new user, add a new email. If the email is not valid, let's say I type this wrong email to tell me that, okay, let me see, Saltec Ventures. So not existing. So it will prompt you to now sign up a new one. In older versions of Windows, you don't have this. It was a very smooth process for you to just set up an account. But because of piracy issue, because of Windows, Microsoft trying to understand their usage, collecting people's data, and on this age of AI, they want people to map all of their account holders, all of their operating system to individuals that can be tracked, PC can be locked, and all of that. Then this option for create one for a child, it then means that it will have the typical thing you have with Google, like a child account. Like I created one for my daughter, an account that she can use to do her Scratch, she can play games, she can do a lot of stuff. Without my being there, I could lock the account. I could see some of the things that are happening on the account. And if the account has issue, we can do a reset and it's going to come to my email. Then, of course, it's going to limit the kind of things that it's going to, that when it comes to videos, comes to cartoons, comes to content, it's going to limit the kind of thing you're going to see there. So you could create an account also for a child. And if it's a child account, it then means the kind of content that will be served there will be those that kids can actually, under 13 or under 18 can actually watch. Okay, I think that's all. Then let's look at Microsoft Windows networking features on client desktop. I think it's a good time to stop that. We're going to add this section and call it part B of the previous one. Subsequently, we're going to start looking at Microsoft Windows networking features on clients.